Yeah, you can clap now.
Okay.
You need to clap on screen. Yes, awesome.
So this song is actually about, I would like to say that it's about someone, and it relatively does go into that. And but essentially it was about healing. So it starts from a stone. Actually, I can show you the stone,
Okay.
which will make it more relevant.
Yes.
It's from this stone.
All right. What is this
Blue
stone?
fluorite. It's a blue fluorite. And I've never really been a stone person because I honestly believe that I never knew how to pick my own stones. Like I've worked with like my guides and spirit, which is like nature and things like that. And I've really actually found a lot of those aspects healing in my life. And but this, somebody actually gifted me. Right. And it's the person that coincidentally the song also connects with. And it started a trail of like a visualization for me, which actually I don't know if it was tapping into like a healing energy or something, which was really, it's like a stream or a river of like love or calm. You can like basically throw anything in it. Usually when I think we go through breakups, we are in this place at some point, we're like, how do I move from this? Or how do I really not deal with this pain? How do I forget this space? But the processing of it is so important, right, in a certain way. And in that, I find that many a times we try to reject or not really accept what we're feeling because there are so many of other denser feelings coming up that are actually not that beneficial. That could be like anger or blah, 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 or, you know. This song is, I think, about the recognition of really kind of acknowledging that that happens, but really coming back to yourself and also acknowledging this massive ocean of love that we are. And that love is really actually just within us. Like we choose to share it. Right. We can choose to always feel that. It's not dependent on something else. It's because that's always there. Also, you know, like how we have a lot of, we're like, if I want to love something, they have to love me back. They have to love me exactly like this. Right. So that's the part about all the rules that go away. Yeah. And there are no fools anyway is basically just a reference to what the fuck. Yeah. There's love. Yeah.
As a blue river runs through me, it brings me joy and peace. As a blue river runs through me, all I think of is you. All I think of is you. I don't know what to do.
Did you have a couple of lines ready, or was it, how did you write this song?
My flatmate came back home and they were working in the living room, and I went to my room and I just lay down on the bed and I was strumming something and it just came out and I was like, that sounds sweet.
Right.
And they were the first 4 lines.
As the blue river runs through me, it brings me joy and peace. All I think of is you.
I don't know what to do. Yeah. I actually really liked it. I liked how it made me. It felt like it had something to say. And also, I think in my songs recently, when I say that they've been about healing and processing a lot of the stuff, what I have been allowing is that I feel like sometimes there are 2 voices. I allow one to express that whatever it's feeling, I will allow it to express. But then there will be a voice that wants to respond to it and tell it how it wants to process things. That's, I found with most of the songs, that's what was happening.
So would you say that the chorus is kind of the other voice that's kind of trying to give you a lesson and trying to steer you to a brighter side?
This song in itself It wasn't written from a place of pain. It
Right.
was just sort of written from a place of like acknowledgement
Right.
of it's actually like maybe somebody listens to it and they think it's a sad song, but it's actually not because it's about
Right.
finding joy. If you want to feel love, you can go ahead and feel love.
What is letting go anyway? All the rules that go away. There are no fools anyway.
You're trying to say that there's no particular rules to which side you should be on. You can find your own way into that situation. You don't necessarily have to listen to your heart or your head.
From a perspective space, it could be either of those. But from where it was written, it was about moving on. Basically, people have said, move on, like forget, go date other people, do this, do that. And we don't actually process our feelings. And in that, I already was in love. It didn't matter. We didn't come together in that place to be like, okay, we're going to be together now. It was an acknowledgement of my feelings. So what is letting go anyway? All the rules that go away, there are no fools anyway. So I'm not angry. I'm nothing. I'm just in love. And that love can still prevail. It doesn't have to be like, oh, we're not together, fuck this.
And as it showed me once, noise will always subdue. If you are listening to what it's trying to say to you, maybe it's changed, or the river represents. Or maybe I don't need to define why you're still on my mind.
The second verse, so you say maybe it's changed what the river represents, or maybe I don't need to define why you're still on my mind. The peculiar thing that I found in the second verse is the use of the word represents. It doesn't really fit into the bar. It doesn't really fit into your beat, but you still let it. Sorry?
It's a bridge.
It's a bridge?
I think it's a bridge. I figured that out later on. Because I was trying to put a verse there, but that verse didn't work.
Oh, now it makes things a little more clear to me. Because all this while, this is a question that I was anyway going to come to, was, okay, so the first three paragraphs are like the first verse, then you go to the chorus. I thought this is the second verse, and I was constantly asking myself, why has she written a small second verse which is considerably smaller to the first verse? But when you say it's a bridge, it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. It even changes in its sound and the way it's played. I didn't exactly think of it as like I'm writing a bridge. I was just like basically writing and playing through it and seeing where things felt good to me.
Maybe it's changed, or the river represents. Or maybe I don't need to define why you're still on my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote another verse after that, and I was like, that's too long and that's unnecessary.
Right.
So I have actually like 2 or 3 more verses that I wrote, but I didn't put it in. Because I felt like sometimes, you've made your point, but you keep going around the point.
Yeah, that's true. Because the structure of the song is not very conventional. It feels like a lot of poetry rather than, how people when they write, like, okay, I'm going to write, especially like I do that a lot. I'm going to write the first verse, then I'm going to come to the pre-chorus, then I'm going to write the chorus. And once I have that, then I'm like, okay, my job for today is done. But I think this song feels more like,
I think it's shifting to that place more. Like I've also now found myself writing things that don't have any chorus. and are actually becoming more, they could be almost like spoken word, but not really.
Right.
And so when you say stream of consciousness, yes, I think this is much closer to that. It definitely started with that, me actually not realizing that that's even about to happen, but you pick up your guitar and you're not thinking, but you're like, blah, 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 what just happened. I obviously want to make good music always, but I am also realizing that sometimes we have so many ideas fixated on what good music should sound like and what a song should be like, that sometimes all those ideas can just be distractions rather than allowing us to just kind of dip in and for a second see whatever
Right.
we are trying to express. Because I
Right.
think that's most powerful. Like, because
Yeah.
what people are feeling and how they're working through it is the most powerful thing that we can actually share. And I
Right.
think that's very connected. And
Yeah.
if out of that you get an amazing pre-chorus and a great chorus, then cherry on top.
Do you often work with writing your melodies while you're writing your words?
I've figured that there is no one way at the moment that I'm really working. Sometimes I actually find a really great chord pattern and I'm like, it's so simple, but I just want to keep playing it. And then suddenly you're just playing it. And then suddenly you're saying something and you
Right.
don't know why.
Right.
It makes sense. Sometimes the chords in itself kind of take you into a different stream of consciousness, like you said, like an E minor would bring up something else as compared to a C.
Which you prefer?
I don't prefer. The thing is, I am changing, shifting, evolving as a human being, and we all are. So I don't think that there is ever going to be one way. I think the E minor might stem from like the more roots.
Yeah. Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you go to like, the more alternative 90s. Blue
Yeah.
River was relatively super simple. Like,
Right.
we realized that there was nothing that it really needed to go on it apart from like I played one super simple strum for the chorus because I wanted it to be slightly bigger.
There's no bass?
No, I don't really have a band that I play with as such. So maybe things would have been different if I had done it with a bunch of people or something. But yeah, I also enjoy silence in music. I think it's such an integral part of music.
Yeah. I feel like if you would have put drums or something onto it, it would have lost its fluidity.
Yeah, for the verses, I definitely wouldn't have thought of that. For the chorus, I would be really like actually initially what I wanted for the chorus was I wanted it to smash out. I wanted to be
Right.
like, what? That ain't go anyway. I was like, fuck it, like just fuck the chorus, like fuck everything in it, like blow it out. What is letting go anyway?
Oh.
So it wasn't sweet. It just,
Right.
when by the time you've played it a bunch of times, it just really gathers its own space. It's like, becomes a song. But you actually, if I do a live, maybe I'll do it
Yeah.
in that way.
Yeah, and you've got a good range to pick that up too. So that'd be interesting to just see.
I think that's what live sessions are so good for, or like live sets are so good for. You never have to play things exactly the same way. You can do whatever the fuck you want. But I think things evolve, and because you're singing them and you evolve, you want to feel things differently. I don't know.
Right.
I'm sure you do that too.
Just like start very mellow so that the high points of the song will just automatically sound very high.
Yeah.
I play with dynamics more than like just going all guns blazing. I wanted to ask you, did you record your guitar and vocals together?
Yeah.
Right.
This song, yes.
Did you have a metronome while you were recording it?
No. Because I think metronomes are very good sometimes, but sometimes they will be a hindrance to the vibe of what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
If you want to take that 2 second extra to breathe in that because it feels good. So
Right.
I think depending on the song, like some songs definitely need a metronome, especially when you have other players. But when you don't,
Some people have this habit of if they hear something interesting, if they read something interesting or something across their mind, they have like these notes on their phones that they keep. And then later on, when they are trying to write a song, they kind of see if there are any of those lines or any of those emotions that they can tap into. Do you follow that sort of a process?
So I don't know about like sitting and writing, but yes, like there'll be something that comes to your mind and you write it down and it will maybe make sense at another point or it won't. But
Right.
yeah,
And do you also record melodies as you go while you're traveling if you have something in your mind?
all the time.
All the time.
It's literally like 500 notes, audio notes.
Wow.
So, and the funniest thing is that it takes on the Google Maps location and it names them.
Yes, it's so creepy.
So when I was talking about like taking a walk and writing something, so that's also another thing that I think is always helpful. You can just speak it out.
Right.
So yeah, I sent Zen actually a recording of one of the notes. He's like, "What the fuck is that address?" Like it was like Punjab Lane address. It's also sometimes easier for me to know that I like what I was feeling and saying behind that bush in that park, and I can go to where that bush in that park lane is.
I'm
Instead of
sure
me
there is no voice memo showing you a bush in the park as an address.
it is. There is. It
Bush in
doesn't
the
say bush in the park, but it talks about the lane. And I'm like, okay, I know this.
yeah, where you were, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a pretty straightforward song.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also very superfluous in terms of the way the guitar tone is. That goes with the name of the song and what it says. So yeah, I think we've discussed pretty much everything I wanted to discuss about the song. If there's anything that you wanted to talk about, that would be killer.
You know, like so there's so much stuff in the world that's so good. Like that's great. That's a great song.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a great song. There's this, yeah.
I mean, I totally was open to this being great. So yes, it was.
Awesome. Thank you so much for doing this.
It's been really super nice talking to you.
Yay.
Yeah. Take care.
You
Be
too.
super.
Yeah. All right, Alisha. Thank you so much for doing this. Bye.
Bye.